I mentioned we've got a great lineup of speakers today, and our first two speakers, it's an honor for me to introduce them, and they have been the real architects of this project. And it would not have happened without them. The SOAR initiative would not be here without them, and we owe them a great amount of appreciation and respect. I'm proud to welcome to Hazard today Congressman Hal Rogers and Governor Steve Beshear. Please give them a hand. First today, we're going to hear from Congressman Rogers. Congressman.
Jared, thank you very much for the nice introduction. Governor, good always to be with you and all of you in the room. We have the leadership of the state legislature here with us, of course, and the leadership of SOAR and lots of other people, and I'm thrilled to be here on this, what I think is one of the most historic days that Eastern Kentucky will have seen. I readily predict that this new interstate I-way will open us up to greater growth than the interstate highway system has. Kentucky will go from one of the least wired states in the Union to one of the top rated when this project is completed. And so I'm proud to be a part of it. I'm proud that we have come to this point to where we can say our future is upon us. When I was a young guy graduating from Wayne County High School, 1955, you had to leave. I followed a brother to Cincinnati, much as my dad followed a brother to Akron, Ohio, a generation before. And we've shipped out our best and brightest from these hills of Kentucky for far too long. And when we saw a chance to perhaps bring those jobs here and us not have to leave, then I jumped on it. We all did. I remember going to Frankfurt 2 years ago, Governor, this month, when we had our first meeting on this idea that the center at Somerset had been fooling around with for a year and a half. And so I went there looking for money, wouldn't you know, like all of you have. But we had 20 million from feds, and we needed another 10 million, it seemed, to get us started in East Kentucky. And so I went there with that in mind. And Speaker Stumbo and State Senate President Robert jumped on the idea. They loved it. And the governor said, well, you know, Rogers, I'd like to take this statewide, not just East Kentucky. And I said, Governor, if you've got the money, I've got the time. So here we go. The governor and his staff have just been nonstop in promoting this project from day to day to day to day. And I want to thank the governor personally for his friendship and his companionship on this project and co-sponsoring and ramming it through. It's been a stirring time in our region since 1,700 Eastern Kentuckians gathered on a cold, snowy December day at the first SOAR Summit in 2013. And we began making plans to revive this region through job creation and bold new projects. We realized that with the diminished coal employment in our region that we had to do something. And we had to think outside the box. We had to talk about cooperating across county lines and city lines. We had to talk about crossing party lines We all had to work together. We had no choice. With your backs to the wall, you do what you can together. And boy, have you ever. I want to congratulate the leadership and of SOAR, the leadership in SOAR, and Jared has been a great executive director, and he's just getting started. And I've seen Eastern Kentucky united in ways that I've never seen before. And I hope that continues. I know it will. But it's going to take us all swallowing hard sometimes. You know, football rivalries don't die easy, or other rivalries, but we must do it. We've witnessed unprecedented regional collaboration. We've got a catalog now of innovative ideas and plans to drive this region beyond its barriers and into a future filled with hope, opportunity, and good-paying jobs. But that's how we operate in Eastern Kentucky. We are overcomers. We've done it before. For example, Pike County, one of the hardest hit counties in the coal fields, but yet look at the growth of the city of Pikeville and the Pikeville Medical Center. For example, Walter May took what was once a coal miner's hospital, turned it into a state-of-the-art medical center that has earned affiliations with the famed Mayo Clinic and Cleveland Clinic. Our people are resilient. SOAR is on the move. It's attracted some skepticism along the way, wouldn't you know? In fact, this very project has been criticized. And we knew that would happen, yet we didn't allow it to stop us from trying. Thus, you're here. Winston Churchill once said, quote, "Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It's the courage to continue that counts." Now, these naysayers have always been around. They've been around for a long time. But I love it when we can gather hundreds of people on this great day to prove that not only do we survive, we thrive. Look at your history. Look at your history. We've been the people who've banded together, risen above, rallied, and fought the good fight. We powered the industrialization of America from these hills. We've responded to the call of duty in the military time and again to protect the flag and our freedom. In fact, there's no part of the country that has a higher percentage of volunteers than Eastern Kentucky. And when our neighbors and friends started getting pink slips at the coal mines over the last 6 years, we rallied and we developed the SOAR initiative, bringing us to this very monumental moment for our region. And now, while we power forward into the future, we're harnessing our unique American heritage, like the bluegrass music represented by Morehead State today. And boy, I love to hear them play. If I could play the banjo like that, you wouldn't have me to put up with anymore. This technology highway, or I-way as I like to call it, even entranceway into Silicon Holler, this will diversify our economy. It will help investors and job creators see Eastern Kentucky as a true Silicon Holler rather than a region in despair. To the SOAR Executive Committee, our SOAR volunteers, our state legislators, our local officials and federal leaders, thank you for blurring the county lines that have separated us for so long. Thank you for breaking down the silos that have divided our communications. And thank you for being a part of this monumental project that has stirred the blood of every Eastern Kentuckian. Today we're celebrating the beginning of what's called the middle mile. The backbone of this technology, I-Way as I call it, will be stretched across our region, down I-75 from north to south and thence offshoots. I want to applaud the Center for Rural Development in Somerset and Executive Director Lonnie Lawson. Where are you, Lonnie? Thank you, Lonnie. He led the charge for Eastern Kentucky's portion of this statewide project. When we opened the center in 1995, we envisioned it as a leader in technology. So we first began connecting each of our counties through teleconferencing, which many of you are using. And now, 20 years later, the center is responsible for leading this project in Eastern Kentucky. As far as I'm concerned, the center is the chief engineer of Silicon Holler. Now it's time to put our plans for economic development and diversification into full swing. In 1996, Congress passed the Telecommunications Act that was designed to bring affordable high-speed internet to all consumers and improve access to rural areas. Over the years, we've heard about things like gigabytes and T1 lines, but with this new fiber optic cable, there is no limit to speed or how fast we can communicate. No limit. With the I-Way, we truly have endless capacity and endless connection. They gave the governor and I a piece of that cable that's laying at our chair here earlier. Goose, would you bring me one of those? Thank you. This is what that cable amounts to. This is the covered part, the fiber cables, then finally the optic cables. And they tell me that you can't see this, but just one of these strands, smaller than a hair, carries 30,000 times as much as a regular cable. 30,000, and there's a bunch. So there's no limit. You're going to have unlimited potential. And I use that word carefully, potential. This is going to give you the mechanics, the technology, the capability to expand your business and attract new ones like you've never even thought of before. So I'm asking you to open up your head and start dreaming about the future and what you can do with this new technology that will be in place in Eastern Kentucky by April of next year. Colleges, technology schools, educators, start training them. We're going to need them. We're going to need code writers, people who understand the business, who are capable of doing it. You've got to train them, and you've got to do it now because this is upon you, and it's going to be available to you very soon, and the competition is going to be fierce. So, enough said. It's up to us to recruit the jobs, expand healthcare access, improve STEM-based education, and market this incredible workforce that we have for high-tech jobs. Today, we rank among the least connected in the U.S. But come next spring, the I-Way will catapult Eastern Kentucky among the top in the nation for broadband access. Now, we've got a lot of entrepreneurs in the room and leaders in business of all sorts. And I'm asking you to begin thinking about how you will utilize this incredible technology that will be at your doorstep. And I know that you will. If you're a business leader or entrepreneur, this is your chance. This is for you. This will help us attract the jobs that we've never been able to attract before. There's lots of examples. You've heard me talk about them some. Some of you went on the bus tour of South I-75 with us a year or so ago. where we looked at some examples of how this is being used. Just for example, at Williamsburg, the U.S. State Department has their visa application center for the world. If you want a visa in Rome, you make a picture at the State Department. They ship that picture to their center at Williamsburg, Kentucky. And you may be even speaking Spanish, but they speak Southern Spanish there as well. And they compare that picture with a picture that's already on file or in the terrorist watch lists. That's where that takes place, at Williamsburg, Kentucky. Facial identification. They have the world's experts on how you identify faces. It's fascinating to watch. That's here at home. We can do this stuff. They do that because they've got good cable connection. We all can do that now, come next spring. While we celebrate and prepare for the middle mile today, our ultimate goal is the last mile, connecting our local providers to the highway so they can extend broadband to homes and businesses in every community. And make no mistake about it, the ownership and responsibility of the last mile belongs to you, belongs to everyone in this room. We're laying it in your lap. And we want you to be able to take that last mile into the homes and businesses in your community. It'll be costly, it'll be challenging, but our children deserve access to the best educational opportunities. Our seniors deserve access to better health care monitoring. And every family deserves better job opportunities so that they can work and live in this region that we all love and call home. We should expect and demand no less. We've already proven we can sit at the same table and collaborate with each other, with local, state, and federal and private entities for the betterment of Eastern Kentucky, and we must continue to do so until the very last mile is in place. Finally, we know that broadband is not a silver bullet. There is none. But it levels the playing field. It gives us a chance. It opens up possibilities and potential for us to take advantage of. It takes away the historic barriers to better jobs, the difficult terrain, the isolation that we've endured these generations. But the superior work ethic that I hear spoken of by manufacturers all across our region and the state and country tell me that the work ethic in Eastern Kentucky is the best they've seen anywhere in the country. And the pay scale is competitive. All we've lacked is ability to get out of these hills. Got an idea? It's called the highway. And I think we can meet global competition in the Silicon Holler without having to chase jobs to Silicon Valley. And ultimately, we know without broadband, we're left behind. We're not even in the game. So let it be known, Silicon Holler is about to jump on the global grid, and we're taking applications. Thanks and God bless.
Congressman, you've had an excellent partner in your efforts with SOAR, and I think it'd be a good time for us to hear from our governor, Governor Steve Beshear.
Thank you. Thank you all very much. It's obviously great to be here today, and it's great to be in a room that's so filled with promise about the future of Eastern Kentucky, about the future of our entire state. You know, Congressman Rogers and I have worked on a number of projects before, but our partnership in the Shaping Our Appalachian Region initiative, and in particular in this high-speed broadband project, has been particularly rewarding. I've said it often, I'm a Democrat, Congressman's a Republican. I've got my blue tie on. He's got his red tie on. But folks, we're Kentuckians first. And the reason that this is going to be successful is because all of us in this region are going to remember that we're Kentuckians first. And we're going to put aside all of the regional, the geographic, the party differences and make this work. Because if this works, and it will, you're going to see a region that will be transformed from a place where people are crying for jobs to a place where employers won't be able to find enough people to fill those jobs. That's what this means for Eastern Kentucky. What's important, we all know this, is strengthening the economic competitiveness of our region and of our state and improving the quality of life for all of our families. You know, Washington and the partisan political world ought to take a lesson from what we're doing here in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. This is what collaboration is all about. This is the way the process is supposed to work. Well, I'm proud to say that it does work right here in Kentucky. It works between Congressman Rogers and myself. It works between Senate President Robert Stivers and Speaker Stumbo of our House and Senate. And because of that, we're seeing great progress in our Commonwealth. Because of that, we're standing here today making this happen. I want to also thank Jared Arnett, and I think he deserves a round of applause right now for his hard work and dedication. And he's right, this is one of, if not the most important infrastructure projects ever to be put in place in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. We all know that to be viable, a region needs a lot of things. It needs good roads, it needs utility lines, it needs railroad tracks, needs electricity, running water. Well, folks, high-speed broadband is just as essential as every one of those to the success of a region. Because those other things in and of themselves are no longer enough. We are in the age of information. And information needs to be able to move and be shared quickly and reliably, and in big batches. KentuckyWired will help us not only catch up to other states, but leap past many of them and where they are today. As you know, and the Congressman pointed out, the Commonwealth is investing in what we call the middle mile network. That is the network system that delivers high-speed broadband to communities. If you think of a road analogy, this middle mile is the interstate and state highway system. The KentuckyWired network is transforming the current 2-lane, 45-mile-an-hour middle mile to a 10-lane superhighway with no speed limits at all. That is what a drastic change we're going to see. It will be capable of moving big batches of information at light speed. But even that is not enough. An interstate typically doesn't go right up to your house. You need exit ramps, you need side roads, you need streets. And that is the other thing that the Congressman mentioned. In parts of the Commonwealth today, broadband still travels on the equivalent of cow paths and dirt roads. On our highway, the so-called last miles of the system are up to you, the individual communities, to build. They must construct the smaller lines and connections that bring light and high-speed broadband straight to the businesses and to the homes in each and every community. What's called the fiber to the premise section is going to be the key to Kentucky Wired's success. For everybody to benefit, communities or the service providers in those communities, existing or brand new, must invest in fiber-based infrastructure to take full advantage of this effort. Or you can create a public entity to help carry that out. Our state finance cabinet has put together a fiber planning guidebook that includes a complete planning process for communities and utility and service providers to analyze, to organize, to plan, and to model their broadband future. We've also put together an overview of federal funding opportunities that communities could tap into to support connecting to this middle mile. The State Office of Broadband Outreach and Development will be presenting a series of free webinars beginning late September through the end of this year to talk about these issues. Topics will include building stakeholder involvement, comprehensive planning, best practices for getting your community fiber ready, and attracting private investment. So today, we begin building the Kentucky Wired Highway, and a lot of hands have been involved. And I want to congratulate everybody who's been involved. But we need to keep focused. We need to keep focused on this project for years to come. The fact that we're starting in Eastern Kentucky shows the potential impact of this project on every aspect of society. When Kentucky Wired is complete, Kentuckians in every corner of our state will be able to tap in to the global economy, to compete for higher paying jobs, to collaborate with researchers across the globe, to take classes online, or access increased medical care. That's an exciting thought. And folks, let me just leave you with this word. The congressman showed you this cable that's going to be laid all across Kentucky. How many miles? Someone told me 3,400 miles of this will be laid all across Kentucky. But the congressman and I want you to notice how this is shaped, because we're also going to use this as the equivalent of a buggy whip to make sure that this job gets done. Thank you all very much.